All right. Good evening. Good evening. We got a few folks that are still logging in here. While we wait for them to log in, we'll go ahead and kind of get things started here. Welcome everyone. This is the LD11 Democrats monthly meeting. If I haven't met you or we haven't met, I'm Patrick Brown, the chair of LD11. Want to definitely welcome you to our meeting. If this is your first meeting, like I said, you get to see what we do virtually. If you've been doing this for a minute, you kind of know how this whole thing goes. So before we kind of get started with our business for tonight, I just want to go through a couple of general housekeeping and kind of how we do things here at LD11. First thing with cameras, we basically it's up to you. Like I said, if you are kind of watching at home, if you want your camera on, cool. If you want to save some bandwidth and internet, you can definitely turn it off. We do ask that obviously if you are recognized to speak, please turn your camera on so we can see, who's talking. Also be mindful of the mute button. I believe everyone should be muted already, but just make sure the mute button is activated. If you got like, the NBA playoffs in the background or something like that, we don't want that to distract from the meeting. But again, if you have any comments, questions, things like that, please drop it in the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat. Of course, either it might be something that either I'll just address the entire group or will be answered in the chat. So that's our meeting norms here. If you are the type of person who likes to follow along at home, then you can definitely follow along our agenda. We have a virtual agenda. You got a couple of options. You can either utilize a link here. That'll get dropped in the chat, so I don't feel like you need to like write it down real quick. If you're a type of person who uses more than one device during like Zoom meetings, like your cell phone, or you got another tablet or something, if you're able to, go ahead and scan that QR code. That'll take you directly to the agenda for tonight. All right, let's get into it. We'll go ahead and start with our officer reports. I'll go ahead and kick things off. Got a couple of things that I would like to talk about. The first one, this is a very important topic here is poll observers. And while this graphic talks about poll observers, I'm also going to talk about poll workers as well. So I would say fairly recently, we had the PPE, the presidential preference election, and most people kind of didn't think that was going to be that eventful because, I mean, at that point, Democrats, we know who our nominees fundamentally going to be. And by this point, the Republicans know who their nominee is going to be. So the PPE for all intents and purposes was kind of just rubber stamping what the reality was going to be. However, we as Democrats did learn some very important, I say, lessons from this election. We know that we kind of got a glimpse into how the Republicans are going to kind of approach this aspect of the election when it comes to volunteers and poll workers. Just to give you kind of an idea, when it comes to poll observers, and let me define the two if you're not familiar. So there's kind of two roles when it comes to working in an election. One is the poll worker. That's a paid position. That is through Maricopa County elections. You apply for that job, you get paid for it. And of course, you get trained through county elections. You're basically a county elections employee working in that capacity. So that's what the poll worker is. And they're handling the ballots. They're making the election experience happen. The other important role is something called the poll observer. Now, the poll observer, this is a partisan position. And what this is, so you'll have Republican poll observers, you'll have Democratic poll observers. Just like it says in the name, you're observing the election. If you see something that is not, up to code or is not supposed to happen, then the role of that observer is to, alert whoever the election inspector is or the lead person on site for them to correct it. It could be things like people campaigning within that, that I would say no campaign zone. It could be maybe a poll worker behaving inappropriately in the execution of duties. It could be somebody doing some shady in line or what have you. The whole kind of role of a poll observer is to basically observe the process and just make sure that it's fair and equitable for the people to cast their ballots. So with that being said, we have a bit of an issue. That issue being is just looking at what happened with the PPE. We were at a very, 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 very large disadvantage when it came to poll observers. It was roughly about, if you did the math, it was about a 5-1 favoring the Republicans. They had a lot of people who were signing up for doing this, for getting out there and becoming a poll observer. And based on some feedback that we've gotten from people who were poll observers, a lot of very questionable stuff was going on. You had folks spouting conspiracy theories about, oh, election stolen and blah blah blah, and bamboo, paper mache ballots, and aliens and all this kind of stuff. But you also had some poll workers who weren't exactly doing things that they were trained to do appropriately. And the thing is, where we had people who were poll observers, they were there to keep things honest. Unfortunately, there were places where we didn't have folks. So now, if you imagine with the PPE, where I would say is probably not the most high stakes election, we're going to have a primary, a little bit more high stakes. And then, of course, we're going to have a general election. And the thing is that, if history has told us anything, the general election is where, we can expect a lot of potential shenanigans from, the other side. And so here's why it's really important that we have individuals sign up to be poll observers and poll workers. If you've been following the news, if you've been paying attention to this election stuff for a minute, you know that we don't have a lot of people doing it. And unfortunately, when it's a lot of people not doing it, a lot of them are Democrats and progressives and things of that nature. So what we want to do is we want to make a concerted effort to start recruiting poll observers and poll workers. Now, I see our county chair, Patty O'Neill, on the call, so I'm going to definitely put her on the spot a little bit later, because like I said, sometimes you got to hear things like 3 times for it to stick. So I'll let her talk a little bit about kind of how the process happens with a poll observer, but I'm just going to keep it really simple. We've got a link here. This is a link for if you are even like just considering it. You want to get more information. You want to ask a bunch of questions that we're not necessarily going to do in this particular meeting. Sign up. Talk to your friends who are saying like, hey, how can I volunteer? What's something I can do? And here's something else. College students. I know college is about to get out for the summer for a lot of people. I remember when I was in college, I had a little bit of like, not say a non-traditional schedule type of thing. I would say, especially for the poll working thing, I'd say it's a perfect job for someone who, has, time and would like to, make a little extra money as well. So that link's going to be in the chat. Again, take a look at it, sign up for it, talk to your friends, your neighbors. When somebody says something like, man, I'm worried about this election, I wonder how I can help keep things safe. Bring up being a poll observer or poll worker. Like I said, the whole purpose of this is, like I said, we want to make sure that folks are, get an equitable chance. Here's the other thing, it's also important. Bilingual poll observers, poll workers, because guess what? Not everybody speaks English, but they still, are a voter. And so sometimes confusions happen because the person is operating in their non-native language. So we have bilingual poll workers, and even poll observers, that somebody can help that person get through the process fairly. All right. I guess I had another slide, but I'll just talk through that one real quick. So other quick thing, I want to give you guys a quick update on the elected PC process. So the process is over. We're well past the April 15th deadline for write-ins and everything. So I want to give you an idea of kind of what the results are. Now, one thing I want to say is that this year was definitely some challenges for being a PC this go round. There were date changes as it impacted how we were supposed to file and turn in paperwork. And I know that created a lot of confusion, things of that nature. But like I said, we persevered. It wasn't in every situation. There were some interesting things that happened, but like I said, we hung with it. So going into this next cycle, we will be looking at having 54 elected PCs. So we set a goal of 60. We didn't quite hit that 60, but we did have a significant increase from last cycle. So just so you have a comparison, the previous cycle, kind of the cycle we're still in, we had 47 elected PCs. So we are, like I said, we did do some growth. It's better to grow than to decline. So the thing is, that's, like I said, those PC terms will start after, I want to say starts after October. That's when that will kind of kick in. But again, yeah, I think that's good news. I think it's something to be proud of. And as a LD, we're going to continue to grow. There's options for folks to become appointed PCs. That's something that I will talk about, a little bit later in the year, because that's a ways off. But again, I just want to give that update to everybody and kind of let them know where we are with that. So with that said, I'm going to go and hand things over to our first vice chair. Dave Braun, are you on? Okay, I'm not seeing Dave, so we may swing back around for him. So we'll go ahead and we're going to do a little bit of jumping around, because I know some of the board was a little all over the place tonight. So I'm going to move up to our secretary. So Tanisha, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, members who are joining. I do not have anything to share. I believe we will be doing an update of PC contacts. So there is a QR code that you can scan to update your information so that we can share information with you as we get it.
All right, thank you. And I want to reiterate with that, if you are a current PC or you've just become an elected PC, please do that, because it's important that we have up-to-date contact information for things that take place. Like, for example, we had to do an appointment for state ledge. We have to be able to reach out and let y'all know when those things are happening. So like I said, just even if you know that nothing's changed, just go ahead and fill out just for everybody's peace of mind. Okay, treasurer's report. Sadia, you are up.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. So in April, we raised, at the beginning of April, we had $3,629.44 in our bank. And then at the end of April was $4,036.23. We raised $403, which came from our Act Blue. So it was a significant increase from last month. So, and then we also have some new recurring donors. So I appreciate everyone who donated. And we only spent $131.43. Oh, yeah, I think this is a typo. It's actually 43 cents.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's what happens when I fill out the PowerPoint the last minute. My bad.
As you can see in our expenses, it's all monthly fees for Zoom, ActBlue, our Google domain to maintain our website, mailing list. And then if you guys want to, we'll also share a link if you guys want to donate. We have a link right now. We appreciate everyone. All right, thank you very much. And I think I saw something.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sadia. As always, again, we'll drop that link in the chat. Like I said, the money that you donate is going to go towards electing Democrats up and down the ballot. We've made it a kind of, as a board, we've kind of made it a goal of ours to kind of run as fiscally tight as we can, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the funds to do a major mail project and some things to really engage like our electorate. We saw a lot of successes with that in the previous cycle. We want to replicate it, but make it on a larger scale. And postage and all this stuff costs money. So again, for the cost of like a Starbucks, send it our way. And have a Starbucks the next week, or just make your own coffee and give us the $5. All right. Next up, Sergeant at Arms, Robert Branscombe.
Good evening, everyone. This is your Sergeant at Arms, Robert Branscombe. I don't have too much to report on this evening, but I would like to congratulate the Democrats in the House and the Senate for successfully staying the abortion act that they tried to implement in the state of Arizona. I think it was a great accomplishment to show how willing we are to fight for what we believe is right. And I just want to send out those congratulations to all those members who helped make that happen. That's my report for this evening.
Oh yeah, and I want to give a shout out here. And I see a couple of folks on here, so I'm going to do a quick chair privilege. I want to give a shout out to our Sergeant at Arms, Robert Branscombe, who was elected as a DNC delegate. I also see Judy Green; she was elected as a DNC delegate. I'm also give a shout out because LD11. We for CD3. I want to say that I think all the spots except for one are LD11. So I'm pretty excited about that. We should be excited about that. So Signa Oliver was also elected as a DNC delegate. So of I believe the 4 spots, was it? Yeah, was it 4? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the 4 spots, most of them are LD11. So, you know, we're showing up and we're showing out. So.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, all 4 spots were LD11.
All right. So, well, yeah, well, Judy's an LD5, but, you know, but she's family, so it's all good. All right, let's keep things moving here. So let's we've got my agenda up here. All right, let's go into our guest speakers. We've got a couple of great guest speakers for you guys tonight, and we're going to start with our candidate for county sheriff. So I'll do a quick introduction here for Mr. Tyler Camp. So if you haven't met Tyler, he's a really great guy. You should get to know him, but you're gonna find that out when he talks tonight here. But let me just go through his bio real quick. So Tyler's career in law enforcement spanning over 2 decades is marked by an unwavering commitment to service, leadership, and community engagement. His candidacy for sheriff of Maricopa County is not only about bringing his extensive law enforcement and management experience to the role, but also about infusing the office with innovative practices, accountability, ethical leadership, and a relentless pursuit of justice. A 5th-generation resident of Maricopa County, Tyler's journey in law enforcement is deeply rooted in the community he aspires to serve. After receiving a bachelor's degree, Bachelor's of Science in Administration of Justice from Arizona State University, Tyler embarked on a distinguished career with the Phoenix Police Department. His tenure as shift commander, gang enforcement sergeant, and homicide detective reflects his versatile capabilities in tackling a wide range of law enforcement challenges. Tyler led countless short and long-term organized crime investigations involving wiretaps and undercover operations. Internationally, Tyler served as the Director of Investigations and Law Enforcement Development for a non-governmental organization in relocating his family to West Africa. This experience is a testament to his global perspective and ability to address complex issues like cross-border human trafficking and forced slavery. He also established the first ever cross-border human trafficking task force at the Kotaka, apologize if I mispronounced that, International Airport in West Africa. For the past year, Tyler has served as Director of Executive Protection for Thrive Service Group, Incorporated, a not-for-profit organization that serves to eradicate poverty through social innovation and profitable businesses. Tyler's been married to his wonderful wife, Alana, for 25 years, and they share 4 beautiful children. He is also involved in his local church as an elder, Sunday school teacher, and mission board member. So with that being said, Mr. Camp, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Patrick. How many minutes would you like me to speak for?
You got about 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll be quick. I appreciate the introduction. When the Democratic Party reached out to me in October to run for sheriff, I was honored. I felt honored, but I also felt the need to earn the support of the people in the community. And so for the past 3 months, I've traveled across the county from the Farm Bureau to the different legislative districts. I've attended over 100 meetings and events, meeting with people, listening, learning the needs for public safety around the community, trying to build relationships and trust that is so important to the success for our community, for us to thrive as a community. Like Patrick had said, I have over 2 decades of experience with the Phoenix Police Department, over half spent investigating organized crime and homicide, drug trafficking organizations, criminal street gangs. I have experience working overseas. What I learned overseas, fighting human trafficking, we actually rescued kids that had been trafficked in country But I also learned how to be diplomatic, the power of diplomacy. We have to learn how to work with people from other walks of life. It is so vital and important that we find common ground for us to work and work together and move forward on. And then also working with the local nonprofits here, Goodwill, Thrive are two of the nonprofits that I worked with, and how important nonprofits and our faith-based communities play in the success of our community. The motto for Goodwill is we want to give people a hand up instead of a handout. I really value that. And all of those experiences in my personal life and my professional life helped shape my vision for public safety. And like Patrick said, it's a relentless pursuit of justice for everybody. And it has to be for everybody. And when I talk about justice, I want to talk about three different types of justice. One is doing justice. And I think we know what doing justice is, just upholding the law. We have to uphold the law. The laws are there to protect us, but also restorative justice. We have to provide people with hope. So when people make mistakes, we hold them accountable, just like our kids. Our kids are punished for things they do, but we want to restore them. We want to give them hope. If people don't have hope when they're locked up in jail, oftentimes they will revert back to their old ways and end up in jail. Again, we have to prevent recidivism through restorative justice. And how we can do that is through education and providing them with job tools necessary to help them in the job force once they get out of jail. And lastly, it's preventative justice. And what I mean by preventative justice is it's a collective responsibility for all of us for public safety. And I think it's incumbent upon the sheriff's office to be in the forefront of providing the most current crime trends that we're facing in our society, because I think most people want the ability to be able to protect themselves. And this is a group effort. It's a team effort. We're all shareholders in the investment of public safety, and that's what I intend to do as sheriff. And so as we look at, there are actually two candidates running for sheriff in this election cycle. The Democratic Party reached out to me to run, and I'm proud to announce that I just received an endorsement from the previous Democratic chair, Ann Wallach, and I also received an endorsement from the Tempe Mayor, Corey Woods. And so I will continue to work with the community, earn their trust. And what I've learned is in order to earn trust, you have to give trust. And that's why it's a partnership with the community to help solve our public safety issues.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. Does anyone have any questions for Tyler? Questions going once, questions going twice. All right, Tyler, thank you for joining us tonight, sharing your vision for the office of sheriff. I will ask one question. It's kind of I always call this my default question here. For folks who are interested in, helping you, supporting your campaign, how can they do that?
Yes, my website is campforasheriff.com. That's camp with a K, KAMP. I love for you to join my team and partnering and just get the word out. I think the most important thing is telling people the truth, telling people the truth about this race, telling people the truth about the sheriff's office, and just get that word out to everybody.
All right. Again, thank you for joining us, Tyler. Like I said, good luck with the campaign. And like I said, you always, if you want to, whenever you want to swing by LD11, you're more than welcome.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Chair. Can we please have Tyler Camp place his website in the chat for everyone?
Yes, we can. I'm sure he'll be happy to make that happen.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's keep things going here. So our next guest speaker is Dr. Dwayne Wooten. He is running for Congress for Congressional District 3. So if you're wondering where that is, you're in Congressional District 3. So let me do a quick introduction of Dr. Wooten here. So Dr. Dwayne M. Wooten was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, the fourth of 6 children to H.G. and Georgia Wooten. From his early childhood, he had a passion to take care of children, declaring at the age of 8 that he was going to be a pediatrician. He excelled academically, graduating with honors from Maryville High School in West Phoenix. As an excellent student and athlete, excelling in basketball and football, Dr. Wooten was offered over 130 academic scholarships and 8 athletic scholarships. Dr. Wooten attended Northwestern University, where he majored in chemical and biomedical engineering. He went on to complete his undergraduate training in 3 years and applied to 10 medical schools at the young age of 19. He was fortunate to be accepted to all medical schools and decided to attend the University of Arizona College of Medicine, go Wildcats, being the first African American in 8 years at that institution, as well as the only third African American ever. Dr. Wooten graduated as one of the youngest physicians in Arizona ever, and he began his residency at the Phoenix Hospital affiliated pediatric program. After completion, he went on to complete a fellowship in pediatric critical care at St. Joseph's Hospital in Phoenix before entering private practice. Over the years, Dr. Wooten has won almost every kind of award imaginable, including the Thomas Dooley Medical Physician of the Year in Maricopa County in 1998, scores of community service awards, as well as the highly touted Calvin C. Good Martin Luther King Jr. Lifetime Achievement Award given by the City of Phoenix in 2016. Dr. Wooten serves on a multitude of medical committees and physician advisory boards, as well as having the honor of serving for years on such boards as the American Heart Association, Boys and Girls Club of Metropolitan Phoenix, and Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Phoenix. He is married to the Honorable Tamika Wooten, Esquire, and has 2 beautiful daughters. With that introduction, Dr. Wooten, the floor is yours.
Do this. Can you hear me okay?
Oh,
Because
yes, we can hear you.
for whatever
We can hear you.
reason, the internet is really starting to me over here in Central Phoenix. So I'm just wondering, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
I guess the question is, can you hear us? Because we can hear you. Oh, now we can't anymore.
I'm having
We're having some technical difficulties here. We'll give it a moment. Oh, okay. So here's what we'll do. I think he's okay. He's reconnecting. So we'll give it a second here. We'll get Dr. Wooten back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm really sorry, but all of a sudden, after Tyler spoke, all of a sudden my internet started acting up. I think, Tyler, you did it for me. But I am Dr. Dwayne Wooten. Appreciate the introduction. Yes, I am running for Congress for District 3. A little bit about why I'm running. I have my little Wooten for Arizona hat on. Can you see it? I am still a practicing physician. This is my 40th year being a pediatrician in Central Phoenix, South Central Phoenix, which is where I've been all my career. And yes, I am a true native. I decided after about 7 years of complaining about what I was seeing with regards to healthcare access, with regard to housing, with regards to food disparities, I had to do something about it. And so after speaking to one of my dearest friends, Mel Hanna, for about a year, he finally talked me into considering running. And unfortunately, I decided that I would. He passed away, and it was very hurtful for me, but I decided to go on and do this. It's fun for me, for once in my life, I will say, to be the super underdog, because I got in this race really late compared to the other young people that are running. But I think I bring something to the table that a lot of people don't bring with regards to experience getting people work together and with production of things that are important in this community, in my community that I care about so much. So I'm running as a moderate candidate, middle of the road candidate. I know how to bring progressives together with conservatives, with liberals, and all work together to get things done. I've been very blessed to achieve a lot in this community in my lifetime, and I want to bring that to fruition as far as, or completion, I should say, and see some of the things that have been promised for years
think we had another like technical difficulty here. So Dr. Wooten, if you can hear us, we lost. I think we lost you for a second.
I'm speaking as fast as I can, so hopefully the internet will hold up a little bit longer.
Oh no, you're
How am I
good
doing now?
with the
Can you
technical
hear me
stuff.
again?
We'll massage the time, but we lost. I think we lost you at you were talking
Yeah, we love
about.
it, don't we?
Yeah.
But anyway, no, in all seriousness, it's okay. Hmm. Well, so that is what I bring to the table that's a little unique than any other candidates went for this office. Because I've had, like I said, 40 years of experience of bringing things together that many people thought would never happen. I'll give you, for instance, that structure on the 51 called Phoenix Children's Hospital for years, warning parties from St. Joseph's Hospital as well as Samaritan Hospital refused to work together to build a children's hospital, and took a small group of physicians, me leading the way, to put them together and to get them in a room. After 2 years of negotiating, we finally started a hospital for children in this community. And it's thought that would never happen. But again, I've had a knack of being on over 20 boards in my career. I've had a knack of being able to pull things and problem solve, pull things together and get things done. And I think that's what Washington is missing more than anything else right now. I've listened to candidates over the years come to churches, our community centers, and say what they're going to bring to the community. Though them are dear friends of mine over the years, I haven't seen most of that stuff come to fruition. So I am that different candidate. I'm not going to stop being a physician. I still practice medicine as I speak now. I do have days to take care of my patients, which I've been blessed enough to take care of over 43,000 families in 40 years, 3 generations. So with that, I'll shut up because the internet is going to last for whatever reason, and I'll be happy to answer questions that many of you may have.
All right, thank you, Dr. Wooten. Any questions for Dr. Wooten? You have time to think about it because he's relogging back in. All right, if you do have questions for Dr. Wooten, drop them in the chat. I don't know if he can hear me, but Dr. Wooten, if you can hear me, if you could drop information about, if people have questions, they want to reach out, or if they want to help support you on your campaign, please drop that in the chat. And we'll repeat that in case he didn't hear us, or we'll get that information to you. All right. We have one more speaker tonight. Our next guest is Heather Macri. Is that right? Yeah, okay, I got it right. Okay. All right. This is like years of being a school teacher, like, trying to get kids' names right. And it's just like,
Honestly, no one ever gets it right. I respond to anything close.
Okay. All right. So I can do it twice here. So Heather Macri, she is running for the Central Arizona Water Conservation District Board. So let's learn a little bit about Heather. So Heather Macri fights for the people of Arizona every day, emphasizing integrity, transparency, and sustainability. She has represented Maricopa County on the Central Arizona Water Conservation District Board of Directors since getting elected in 2012. Since her election, she has increased public engagement, created the award-winning Protect Lake Mead campaign, helped negotiate and finalize the federal and state drought contingency plans, and co-chaired the Power Task Force, which planned and diversified an innovative portfolio, including renewable sources. Heather is also a director in Fenimore PC's litigation department in Phoenix, where her work focuses on the areas of business litigation, healthcare, and bankruptcy. Her business clients, ranging from huge multinational companies to small business owners, rely on her astute counsel. In the healthcare arena, Heather's business acumen encompasses all aspects of healthcare agreements and regulatory work, representing hospitals, physician groups, skilled nursing facilities, and elder care facilities. She also provides professional representation in licensure and disciplinary proceedings and in matters concerning HIPAA, Stark, Anti-Kickback, and False Claims Act compliance. In her free time, Heather and her husband Stephen are parents to Dorothy and 4 rescue dogs. With that said, Heather, the floor is yours.
Yes, and I'll be honest, Dorothy and the rescue dogs are why I am in the headphones tonight. But what I really want to come and talk to you guys about is water. My name is Heather Macri. I have represented Maricopa County for 12 years on the Central Arizona Water Conservation District Board. This is probably one of the most important functions in Arizona that people are largely unaware of. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk a little bit about what the board does, just to give you some background. The Central Arizona Water Conservation District Board is the board that oversees and sets policies for the Central Arizona Project canals. This is the canal system that brings approximately 1.5 million acre feet of Colorado River water here into central and southern Arizona. Now, to give you an idea of how much that is, 1 acre foot of water is enough to cover a football field with 1 foot of depth. The other thing is that 1 acre foot of water is enough to give water for 4 homes here in our community. So 4 homes for 1 year. So this is a very important function. We serve drinking water, water for agriculture, as well as water for industry for about 80% of Arizona's population. I have, like I said, been serving in this role for 12 years. And during that time, a lot of what I've worked on are transparency and sustainability issues. When I first joined this board, you couldn't actually attend the meetings without driving to our headquarters in North Scottsdale, sitting through the entire meeting, and then giving 3 minutes of public comment. I didn't think that worked for most people. So now we actually have all of our meetings online. We have an electronic blue card system so that just like the legislature, you can provide comments without having to be physically present. And then I've also started the CAP 101 program, which is a free webinar open to everyone in the community to learn more about what we do at CAP, as well as specific aspects of water quality, power, all kinds of good stuff. So we've been doing a lot of that. And then of course, we deal in Colorado River water. So I'm sure you've seen in the media, there have been some pretty severe shortages on the river. We certainly dealt with that with the drought contingency plan, but to be honest, it's not enough. So what we're doing now is we are renegotiating how we share the river between the 7 basin states in the country of Mexico. So right now we are deep in that reconsultation process. And I'm here again to talk to you about this office because, well, it is down ballot. And when I say down ballot, I mean it. We're usually the absolute bottom of the ballot, even after all the judges. This is the down ballot office that's incredibly important. It's nonpartisan. Any voter in Maricopa County can support us. But we have really done a lot of work on this board, especially changed since I first ran 12 years ago, to really bring a liberal and progressive voice to push conservation, to push sustainability, to diversify the energy portfolio. I'm proud of the work we've done, but there's still a lot of work to do. So I'm here tonight asking for your vote. I'd also like to leave some time for questions. I think this is an issue that there are a lot of great questions about. So I'm happy to take questions. And when I'm done taking questions, I will put my website in the chat. So if you'd like to contact me that way, you can do that as well.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and just use my chair privilege and ask a question. So
Go for it.
We have all seen those absolutely horrendous pictures of Lake Mead and, you know, and Lake, I think many of the lakes around the state. I guess I just say the average person who knows there's a water issue, but isn't quite up to speed. What would you say is like just kind of the major priority that Arizona needs to address so that we're, you know, not in a worse situation than we're already in?
Yeah, so it's a tough situation. And we're sort of dealing with 2 things on the river at the same time that are creating this lack of supply. One is called the structural deficit. That is essentially because of the way the river was measured and allocated in the 1920s between the 7 basin states and Mexico. The river has always been over-allocated. So we've been dealing with this deficit in the amount of water available for almost 100 years now. On top of that, you add things like population growth, you add things like climate change. So we're seeing Lake Mead decline much faster than we thought it was going to. That's the reason that we worked so hard to get the drought contingency plan passed. And there were essentially 2 big pieces of that. A federal overarching plan that brought funding and some federal legislation to deal with that, as well as each state, including Arizona, had an intrastate plan. I will tell you that Arizona's intrastate plan was extremely aggressive. At CAP, we have given up over 500,000 acre feet of water from our supply, so about 1/3 of our supply, to actually prop up what is in Lake Mead. And we've seen tremendous results from that. If you looked at the studies prior to the drought contingency plan, we thought we would be in a tier 2 or 3 shortage by now. That is incredibly critical because in a tier 3 shortage or below, it impacts the ability to generate hydroelectric power from the Hoover Dam. That's a huge source of power for the Southwest. So we've been doing a lot. We're also looking right now through the reconsultation with the 7 states and Mexico to do more. So CAP is doing that in terms of negotiating with other states to do more. We're bringing in other technologies. We've actually traveled to Israel quite a bit. I've done this personally to bring back new types of drip irrigation that use less water, to also encourage water smart building codes, to work with our friends and neighbors about how to create more density, because dense growth tends to use a lot less water. And then, of course, we're also looking at technology, things like desalination, how we can work with our partners in Mexico. So it's really not one solution. It's going to be a lot of things. And a big part of it as well is public education, which is why I'm really proud of the work we've done creating CAP 101, as well as a great source. If you're interested in more, is the Know Your Water News. It's another source that sort of grew out of Protect Lake Mead and one of the projects I've worked on. They're essentially white papers for sort of regular people who are not water wonks. There's also some versions for elementary and high school kids that talk about these water issues and what you can do in your own homes and businesses.
All right, thank you for that. Any other questions for Heather? Like I said, this is your opportunity because water is life in Arizona. All right, I will ask one more question, and you probably know what's coming here. For folks who would like to help support your campaign and, you know, help you out, how can they do that?
You know, with my campaign, it really is word of mouth. We absolutely do fundraising. We will never say no to fundraising. I appreciate that, but it's word of mouth. Tell your friends. I used to say, get on Facebook, use the website, use our Instagram, whatever. Tell 5 friends about this race and that it's important to vote in it and that you're supporting myself. We also have Terry Goddard. He's also running for re-election. We both served for 12 years. There's the only 2 Democrats in this race. Again, it is nonpartisan, so you won't see D's or R's. But I will tell you the big thing for us, we've got to get 600,000 votes throughout the county in a down ballot race. So tell your friends. I would really appreciate that.
All right, Heather, thank you for joining us.
Thank
like I
you.
said, you know, water is obviously a major issue for everybody, and I'm glad that I'm happy that you could share that information with us. And again, if you could drop your information in the chat so people can grab that, that'd be amazing. So thank you. All right, so folks, we're doing great on time tonight. So let's go through a couple of updates. And I'm also going to pick on our county chair because she's on the meeting and she knows I like to do stuff like that. So first thing, let's go with a couple of events that are coming up pretty soon here. The first one, let's make that big here. All right, first thing, Black Engagement Committee meeting is happening tomorrow at 6:30. That will be a virtual meeting. That the guest for the BEC meeting will be Tim Stringham. He's running for Maricopa County Recorder. So if you have not heard from Tim or kind of learn about him, this is a great meeting to attend to meet Tim, because the county recorder is going to be someone who's going to be part of the election process. So we want to make sure that we get a Democrat back into that office. So we'll get that link dropped in the chat if you would like to do that. The other thing is we have the ADP State Committee meeting that is coming up. That is going to be Saturday, May 18th. I want to say that's like 2 Saturdays from now. This will be an in-person only meeting. It will not be virtual. So let me say that again. It is going to be in person. It'll be at Desert Vista High School, so just over the mountain from us. You do have to register in advance. So if you are a state committee person, you got to register. You need to be there. I know one of the items will be voting on a new ADP vice chair as an opening on the board. So we'll be voting to fill that position. Of course, there's always, resolutions and stuff. I don't know when that stuff is yet, but I'm sure when that gets announced, we'll get that pushed out to everybody. If you are not a state committee member, you can still attend, but you still have to register. So that link will, of course, go into the chat. It will be in the newsletter. Like I said, everything we're covering, if you missed something, like I said, we record the meetings. It'll go up on our YouTube channel. And of course, these links will be in our newsletter. So if you're trying to frantically write this stuff down, you don't have to. We got you covered. All right. So before we go ahead and move into our last bit of business for tonight, I want to go ahead and recognize our county chair, Patty O'Neill. She's still here. She run off. She knows I was going to pick on her. Okay, I guess you knew it was coming, so she got me. But anyway, like I said, I was gonna mess with her because she was on the meeting. But whoa, sorry, I'm having a literal cat fight behind me. Like I got two cats. All right. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and move into our public comments. So public comments, we keep them at about 1 minute. Anything for the good of the order. So all you got to do is unmute, share your comment, and go ahead. So public comments.
Hi, this is Patty, Chair of MCDP. I want to do a big shout out to your chair, Patrick Brown. He not only does the work as the chair of LD 11, but he is always helping and supporting the county party. And I can't thank you enough. And I know he works full time. He's a dad. So big props to Patrick. And if anybody has any questions on Poll Observer and poll workers, I think Patrick did a fabulous job on describing what the duties of both are, but you can always reach out to me too. And I just want to thank everybody on the call for doing the good work.
All right. Thank you, Patty. All right. Any other public comments? Okay, I got one more, and I forgot to mention this earlier in the meeting. So, but I think this is important. This Saturday, the Letter Carriers Association, basically the union for postal workers, they're doing their annual food drive, and that's going to be happening on Saturday, May 11th. It's actually a really simple process. A lot of people think, well, I got to take food there. What all you have to do is you have to, you can pretty much put the food in a brown bag, like grocery bag, and they will pick it up from your mailbox. So if you're like in a community like mine, we kind of have the community mailbox, you can just put it there. If your letter carrier picks up your mail like from your door, then obviously you just put it there. We've dropped a link that kind of breaks down like how all that works and everything. So please check that out. Again, food to help folks who need it is always an important thing. And so if you can help out our letter carriers with that, to help out the people who need it, there's an opportunity. And I see Lindsay Barrington, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes. How do we know if we are a state committee person?
Well, it's really simple. You have to be an elected PC as part of the last group. And so if you are a state committee person, you would have gotten a notice directly from the state party. So if you didn't get that notice, you are not a state committee person.
So if I got the letter from Maricopa County Elections stating that I'm a precinct committee person?
Yes. So that's actually a good thing. I'm glad you brought that up. So most of y'all who did all the paperwork to become an elected PC, all of you should have received a letter from Maricopa County Elections. That is the little verification saying that, okay, if in your case there is an election, and basically how that works is there's I think it's 11. I think it's 11 spots per precinct. I'm a little hazy on the numbers, but let's go for 11. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will drop it in the chat, or they'll I don't know, flame me on Twitter or something. But the thing is, if it's more than say 11 folks in a precinct, then it goes to an actual election. So you'll appear on the primary election ballot. Really cool. The thing is, if it's less than 11 people, they're not going to do that. There will not be an election. You all just become elected PCs, and that's the end of it. The reason you guys got that letter is they're verifying to make sure that your name is spelled and looks like you want it to look should it go to the ballot. Also, the certificate that you'll get in like, I don't know, a couple of weeks, couple of months, depending on whenever they get that printed and sent out, that'll be like kind of your official certificate that you are an elected PC. You want to make sure they're going to use that information to make sure that your name and everything's spelled correctly. So if you get one of those pieces of paper, you look at it and you go, okay, cool. Everything looks good. You don't have to do anything with it. Just, shred it or hang on to it, add it to your scrapbook, frame it or what have you. You're good to go. What that does mean, and this is kind of moving down the road. So think after the general election, we will have LD11 will do our reorg. That's where we will elect new officers, board members, things of that nature. In that reorg, we will also do something, which is we will elect state committee members. So all of you who are going to be elected PCs moving into the next term, the next cycle, you will be eligible to run to be a state committee member for LD11. It's pretty straightforward stuff. How they determine the number is for every 3 elected PCs, that equals one state committee member. So we're going to have 54. So whoever's faster with math can kind of figure out what that number is. And so basically that'll be the number of spots. And typically what we do, and we've done at least in the past, is if say that number of people want to do it, we don't hold an election, that you become a state committee member. If we have more people than we do have the spots, then yes, we do an election for people to vote to then become on the state committee. So that's pretty much how that process works. That's the quick and dirty explanation. I will have a much cleaner, better presentation as we get closer to that time period that'll outline everything. But Lindsay, good. That was actually a good question, because I'm sure some people were wondering, well, what does this letter mean that I got from county election? So thank you.
Right. So is that applicable to us being officially state committee people by the May convention, or
No.
we have to wait until this is all official for the first round of voting, right?
Right. So basically your term as an elected PC will not start until, I want to say it's October. Because that's when our elected PC terms end. It's like October something, and the date may have changed, but that's what I remember from last cycle. So you're currently an appointed PC, and you'll be appointed PC until everything clicks over to become an elected PC. So really the simple answer is you will not be an elected PC nor eligible to be a state committee member for the May convention. But you can still attend.
I appreciate that, Patrick. I probably will attend, and I'll see you there.
All right, we'll see you there. Okay, any other comments for the good of the order or questions? All right, so let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Again, thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, just, like I said, this is a quicker night. I'm pretty sure people want to see, the Timberwolves play or something, especially if you're a petty Laker fan that is upset that the Lakers lost, but you're over it because, it's just basketball and you don't take it personally. I don't know anybody like that. But my point being is thank you for joining us tonight. Again, I always say, it's Wednesday evening. There's a lot of things you could be doing, but you took some time out to be informed, to, know what's going on with the community, know what's going on with candidates running for office. And we appreciate that. One thing I do want to kind of close on is, and it's something we didn't really talk about at the beginning of the meeting, but as the last week, like I said, it's been a whirlwind of stuff in the state ledge, but with the 1864 abortion law, which again, I can't think of anything good that was going on in 1864, honestly. So we really shouldn't take our cues on how to govern from 1864. But as you know, that law was successfully repealed. Really quick, what does that mean? It basically means that the current law governing reproductive rights, abortion in Arizona, reverts to the 15-week abortion law. The thing is that, in some regards, yes, we don't have an 1864 law, but there's a lot of questions of what's going to happen. Because one, I know the courts, legislature, everything, the AG is trying to address when this thing takes effect, try and get that pulled off, what have you. The reality is that what the Democrats did in the state legislature is amazing, especially being in the minority party, being able to get something like this change. That's important. It really speaks to why this election is going to be important for Democrats, why it's going to be important for us to flip the state legislature so that we can, pass legislation and do things that actually, help people and what many Arizonans want anyway, and not some of the craziness that's coming from the other party in the state legislature. As it pertains to things like abortion, understand that this situation is not resolved. The 15-week abortion ban does not account for a lot of things, and it's not really, frankly, good legislation for a variety of reasons. For that, the reason I bring this up is remember that there is going to be a ballot initiative there's a petition to get a ballot initiative that will secure reproductive rights for women in Arizona, and they're still collecting signatures. They're collecting a lot of signatures, and they're working really hard to make sure this appears on the ballot. That's only part of the job. Once that gets on the ballot, people have to know to vote so that this thing gets through. So again, you're going to be hearing a lot about that. You have heard a lot about that if you're following the news. But why I bring this up and why I'm going to kind of close on this point is that a lot of the things that our community, our country, our state is facing is not I would say it's not, I'm not calling it an intellectual exercise. It's not a political theory exercise. It's real life, and it impacts real people, human beings, your neighbors, your friends, your family, those you care about, and the strangers that are just living their lives just like each and every one of us. So with that being said, we've got to be ready to do the work to support candidates that, we believe in, to support, legislation that we believe in, and make sure that, people turn out and vote. Because frankly, the way that I would say, re-inject sanity, decency, and frankly, just common sense back into governance is by electing good people who are going to do things that are going to actually help people. So with that being said, have a good evening. Take care of yourselves, take care of the ones you love, and we will see you next time.